Good morning to all and welcome to the session, the Hindu Editorial Analysis for Proficiency in English. Before we go to the actual editorial analysis, an important announcement. It is about announcement of a new course. This new course is a foundation course for all competitive exams and it is a bilingual course. I'll be using English and Telugu. Today is the last day for the offer. Actual course fee is 3,000. Later I brought it down to 2,500. Based on the request from the students, I made it 2,000 only for a few days. And today is the last day. If you purchase the course today, it is 2,000. From tomorrow, it is going to be 2,500. This is a live batch. Each session is a live session, and the time slot is evening 7 p.m. The classes are Monday to Friday, and it is for 2 months. It's useful for all competitive exams like banks, SSC, UPSC, SPSC. Let us go to the editorial. Today's editorial is all about elections are fast approaching. Based on that, today we use technology in every sphere and it goes with elections as well. You all know we have been using electronic voting machines, but a lot of criticism against those machines regarding hacking, tampering. Based on that, a new system has been brought into force, and even this is being criticized. It's all about what is the criticism leveled against the new system, VPATs, and what is the stand taken by the editorial, whether the criticism can be justified or not. A few important words are there. Let us start the session with the question, what is this editorial about? Am I audible? This editorial discusses the ongoing debate surrounding the use of electronic voting machines, EVMs, in elections, particularly focusing on the introduction of voter verifiable paper audit trail, VPAT systems. It is all about this one. Criticism leveled against this particular system, trail. You all know the meaning of the word. Thanks for responding. You all know the meaning of the word trail. Immediately you have to recollect path. Yes, very good. You have to recollect two words. One is trial, the other one trail. Trial goes with court, and trail, it's a path to find out someone, to track someone. What is the purpose? Tracking purpose. You lost your way and you want someone to find out in which direction you're going. You leave a few things behind. Could be a few stones of a particular kind, and based on those, they can find out in which direction you have been going and they can locate when you lose your way. Have you got the meaning? This is about tracking the votes in this context. Let us go to the tone of the editorial. What is the tone of the editorial? The tone of the editorial is analytical and objective. There are two words here, though I use regularly. I don't mind repeating. One is subjective. When it comes to a particular stand, a particular opinion, a particular analysis, we use two terms. One is subjective, the other one objective. Subjective opinion, I will give the combination, then you understand. Subjective opinion means personal, your personal opinion. Objective means based on facts and figures. Based on facts and figures, objective analysis. And based on personal opinion, subjective. The tone of the editorial is analytical and objective. It has to be objective. Overkill, it starts with a negative word. Overkill can be a verb, can be a noun. Here I have brought it as a noun. Much more of something than is needed, resulting in less effectiveness. The prefix over enthusiastic, over action, overkill, something more than required, easy to understand, more of something than is needed, than is required. But what is this overkill? What is the context on only 100% recount of VPATs? This is a new system, adjunct system, to support electronic voting machines. And the opposition says the recount should be 100%. It is 100%, then it is nothing but overkill. But what is the main idea of this editorial? Verification of a statistically significant sample. See, here a lot of criticism has been leveled against electronic voting machines. People have been doing that. To counter that, a new system is going to be introduced for the first time. Actually, it was introduced way back in 2013 in Nagaland, but on a large scale for the first time. What is this? It is a system, VPAT. I will read out what the letters stand for when we go to the editorial. Statistically significant. Significant means what? Important. Sample of VPAT slips should suffice. This is an important word. Part of speech verb. Means enough or adequate. The situation is this. We have electronic voting machines. They became controversial. Based on that, VPATs have been introduced as a counter to cross check. And the stand taken by the government, important samples will be cross checked at random. But the opposition demands the cross checking should be 100%. Based on that, the editorial takes a stand. Editorial says we don't have to go for 100%. Significantly, statistically significant sample is enough. Will suffice. Will be enough. We don't have to go beyond. If at all we go beyond, that is nothing but overkill. The introduction and use of the voter verifiable paper audit trail VPAT, an adjunct system, an important word, adjunct, a thing added to something else as a supplementary rather than an essential part, not an essential part, supplementary part to what electronic voting machines in this context. Adjunct system attached to the electronic voting machine EVM and the provision of counting VPAT tallies from 5 random polling booths in every assembly constituency to be matched with the EVM vote count have not assuaged critics of the use of EVMs in Indian elections. A very lengthy sentence from here to here, but not difficult to understand. It talks about the introduction of something, introduction of what? VPATs, voter verifiable paper audit trail, introduced as what? As an adjunct, means a supplementary thing to electronic voting machine and the provision of counting VPAT tallies from 5 random polling booths in every assembly constituency to be matched with the EVM vote count. So, what they have decided, there is a provision based on this introduction. What is a provision? To tally, there are two things. One is electronic voting machine, the other one, VPAT. They have to tally whatever this says, even this has to say, and tally match from 5 random polling booths. Not every polling booth, not practically possible. It takes a lot of time. A random opposite of systematic. Random means something here, something there, and systematic proper way. 5 random polling booths in every assembly constituency to be matched with the EVM vote count. When they take 5 random polling booths from each assembly constituency, they have to make sure the votes from EVM and the votes from VPAT they match. That is the objective. Still, have not assuaged the critics of the use of EVMs in Indian elections. There's one important word we have got. Very good, Naidu, Anusha, all these. Uh, Also, one more college, junior college. Assuage. After a long time, we have got this word. Assuage, part of speech verb. Make an unpleasant thing less intense. And what are the words? You can have a look at the comment box. Assuage and alleviate, mitigate. All these synonyms they have used many a time. You can also use a diminish, decrease, but usage is very important. Some suggest the fact that the process could be. It starts with the introduction of this machine and this the system. It talks about EVMs. It talks about the criticism, the provision, and it says this particular provision has not made the critics happy. And what is the criticism leveled against this particular system? There are two sentences, though lengthy ones. The critics, some means the critics. Some suggest the fact that the process could be more transparent if a machine audit trail of all the commands that are executed is maintained in the system beyond the just votes recorded in the EVM's ballot unit and the printed slips in the VPATs, allowing for an audit to rule out any malicious code. What is the first criticism leveled? Instead of, if you take these two, one is EVM, the other one VPATs, as of now, these record the votes only. But the critics say these machines have to record every command, especially when it comes to EVM's ballot unit. Every command should be recorded in the system. Then we can rule out any malicious code or any malpractice. Some suggest the fact that the process could be more transparent. Had they done it, it would have been more transparent. If a machine audit trail of all commands, not simply casting the vote, that are executed is maintained in the system, beyond just the votes recorded in the EVM's ballot unit and the printed slips in the VPATs, allowing for an audit. Then what happens when they audit? Every command is recorded in EVMs. They can easily rule out any malicious code. Rule out means to make something impossible, to decide or say officially that something is impossible. Malicious means harmful, you can say, having or showing a desire to cause harm to someone. This could indeed make the system more robust. Robust means what? Strong, very strong, full of strength and vigor, and be considered as an upgrade to the existing machines. This is a valid point, the editor opines. Every command is recorded. Someone tried to manipulate, that also gets recorded. Then easy to go in for audit and find out what went wrong. Some others suggest that the use of VPATs has introduced potential vulnerabilities that did not exist with the standalone nature of EVMs and the technical and administrative safeguards that undergirded the legacy system. Others, what they said, introduction of these VPATs introduced the potential vulnerabilities, potential likely to, vulnerable adjective, exposed to the possibility of being attacked or harmed either physically or emotionally. But in this context, it goes with the machine. Potential vulnerabilities that did not exist with the standalone nature of EVMs. When EVMs were independent, no other adjunct system, this vulnerability was not there. Now, with the introduction of VPATs, potential vulnerabilities they have been introduced, and that is being objected. And the technical and administrative safeguards that undergird it. Undergird means to support with a base, strong base, the legacy system. This criticism, this problem this too could be addressed, dealt with by reworking the safeguards to ensure that VPAT combined systems are as secure and foolproof as the standalone EVMs were. How can we rectify this? How can we address this problem? We can rework on the safeguards to ensure that no difference between standalone EVMs and the VPAT combined systems. Both are secure and safe. But incomprehensible is the critique from many, including political parties such as the Congress, that only 100% recount of all VPATs would suffice instead of the current method of sampling the number of recounts in order to have full transparency. This is a stand taken by the editorial. What is a stand? At random, 5 constituencies, 5 polling booths, each assembly constituency would suffice. But many people, many parties, including the major party, the Congress party, demanded 100% recount. And editorial says this demand is incomprehensible. Comprehensible, opposite incomprehensible. Comprehensible means able to be understood. And this is an important word, intelligible. I say something you understand, then you can say, master's speech is comprehensible, understandable, intelligible. And you don't understand what I say, then incomprehensible, cannot understand. What is incomprehensible here? The critique from many, critique means what? An article or essay criticizing a literary or other work. In this context, the system. Critique from many, including political parties such as the Congress, that only 100% recount of all VPATs would suffice. They are demanding 100% instead of the current method of sampling the number of recounts in order to have full transparency. The Supreme Court of India has now listed a series of petitions related to this demand. Based on this demand, what is the demand here? 100% recount, not at random 5 polling booths from each assembly constituency. That is the first part of the editorial. The second part talks about the potential problems and what has to be done, despite a contrasting word. Cassandra like pronouncements. Cassandra is part of Greek mythology, and in this context, it has a different meaning. That different meaning goes with this context. What is it? One that predicts misfortune or disaster. Cassandra like pronouncement. Pronouncement means public statements. Public statements. To state something officially publicly. What are these public statements? Something bad is going to happen. In spite of three separate words, despite of is wrong. Despite Cassandra like pronouncements about malpractices and EVM hacking, there has been no proof of any actual tampering of EVM so far. So far means past to present, we have to use present perfect tense. And some important words. Malpractice means what? Improper, illegal, negligent professional behavior. Malpractices goes with exams time, some people copy. That is known as a malpractice. And tamper. Tamper means interfere with something in order to cause damage or make unauthorized alterations. Here, tampering a machine means what? You try to make changes so that it doesn't work properly. So far, they have made so many allegations or they have criticized a lot Cassandra like pronouncements about malpractices and EVM hacking. In spite of all this, there has been no proof of any actual tampering of EVMs so far. Till date, no proof to say EVMs are not credible. While EVMs, as any machine is bound to, has suffered glitches. EVMs have suffered glitches. Any machine suffers glitches. Glitch means what? A problem or malfunction, usually a temporary one. Sometimes I also say, sorry to inform that I cannot take the session because of a technical glitch. Means what? A small problem, temporary one. Any machine is bound to have a glitch. While EVMs, as any machine is bound to, have suffered glitches and promptly been replaced in the event of machine failures. Whenever there was a problem, immediately they're replaced. The critique that they are prone to hacking or manipulation, what is the criticism here? They are prone to, means they are likely to get affected. Prone to hacking or manipulation despite the existing technical and administrative safeguards hasn't been made with any actual proof. Whatever they say tampering, hacking, all these, but no support, nothing to substantiate. Existing technical and administrative safeguard hasn't been made with any actual proof, simply allegations. The sample counting of VPATs across both the general election in 2019 and several other assembly elections, for instance, which allow the voter to confirm whether the mandate matches the choice made on the EVM, have shown that the mismatch between the VPAT recount and the EVM count has been minuscule also you can say, means what? Extremely small or tiny, an outcome of trivial errors such as non-deletion of mock polls in the machine before the voting process or errors in manual recording of the final count from the machine. A very lengthy sentence, you have to read twice or thrice. But first, trivial means what? Of little value, not that important. It says from here to here, a lengthy, I think this is the lengthiest one. The sample counting of VPATs across both the general election in 2019 and several other assembly elections, for instance, which allow, what is this VPATs? Basically, I should have done it at the outset. This is a EVM, and this is this VPAT. It's like a small box with a screen. When you cast your vote, you choose someone here, and then you go to this place, VPAT. Whichever candidate you have chosen, that gets displayed with the name, the symbol, the party. It remains on screen for 7 seconds. That way you can cross check. And it's a paper thing. After 7 seconds, it falls in that box. It's a box. And the box is sealed. Only the returning officer can open and check the box. Others will not have, don't have access. This talks about that, which allow the voter to confirm whether the mandate matches the choice made on the EVM, whether they match or not, have shown that mismatch between the VPAT recount and the EVM count has been minuscule, very small, an outcome of trivial errors. And those things also why trivial errors, not significant, not important. And what are those trivial errors such as non-deletion of mock polls? Mock polls they forget to delete. That is one thing in the machine before the voting process, or errors in manual recording of the final count from the machine. Manually they record the final count, perhaps there also trivial errors. An increase in the recount sample to make it more statistically significant by making the selected number of assemblies specific to each state union territory based on the size of the province, or simply to increase the recount sample in seats where the margin of victory is narrow, say less than 1% of the overall votes, could be solutions. Based on these trivial errors and minuscule variation between the EVM and the VPATs, they can increase the number of assemblies or poll booths in each assembly, and also they can recount sample also in seats where the margin, wherever there's a margin, thin margin, less than 1%, they can again go in for recount. And these could be solutions, possible solutions. But to insist on a full recount, what is full recount in this context? 100% seems an overkill and a clear lack of trust in the EVM itself. Opposition and many parties demand 100% recount. It shows that it is nothing but overkill. It also shows that they lack trust in EVM itself. It ends on that particular note. I got the feedback. Some students say, sir, when you go to 7 o'clock session, bilingual session, the mini mocks questions you bring, please use English. A few students have demanded. I'm using both English and Telugu. I will try to do it, but I would like to know if at all there is a student who has purchased my foundation course English one. Please get back to me. Send a message, sir. I bought your foundation course English, not bilingual, and this is my name. You please get back to me. My number is 7032325590. Leave a message, don't call. After seeing the message, I'll get back at the in the evening or before 10. Do remember, I would like to know. Thank you very much. That's all for today. Have a nice day. Do remember to subscribe and share.